and Nicobars, and I was paying my first visit to the cellular jail. It's a massive and a very world famous jail. And now it's a part of the cantonment. And in their library, I found a book written by one of the jailer. In his uh, biography, the jailer writes a very interesting story of a prisoner. And I remember that story today. And from this story, what I learned, another lesson of life, that forgiveness is the saving grace. The story goes like this: the jailer writes that there was a prisoner in the jail who was jailed for something for about 15 years. So when he was released from the jail, he was during his stay in the jail, none of his family members, nobody wrote him a letter or anybody paid him a visit. People have forgotten about him because they thought that this person has shamed the family. And he himself, the prisoner, was so apprehensive of his act, and he was convinced that none of his family members have actually forgiven him. And on the date of release, he had become quite a good person while he stay. What he did before he actually goes back to his native place somewhere in Odisha. So his house was to the railway station. So what he did before he could himself go to the village, he stayed somewhere and sent a letter and asked his friend or someone to just have it dropped in front of his house. And he simply wrote that if suppose the family, he has been released from the jail after so long and he wants to get back, and if the family has really forgiven him, then there is a massive banyan tree in the railway station itself. So they should tie a white cloth, so that while he boards the train and he reaches there next week, so he sees that white cloth, he will understand that people have forgiven him, he will get deboard the train. If he doesn't find anything white on that tree, he don't get down, and he continues and spends his life wherever, but not gets back to the family. Then after 1 week when he took the train, he was restless sitting in the train when the station was approaching. Even the co-passengers was also thinking what's wrong with him. And he was desperately looking, and the station comes, train entered, he was desperately looking for that banyan tree. And the moment that tree arrived in his sight from the window, he sees that the entire tree is tied with whole white cloths. It was as if a white tree. He shouted there. His eyes were bright, filled with brightness and sudden tears. The whole tree was white with white ribbons. This thing. That poisoned his life for so long was just simply disappeared, was dispelled. My friend, remember, there is always a miraculous bond the way forgiveness reconciles the irreconcilable. Forgiveness, Father used to say, is the saving grace. Essentially, it is a religious concept, as they say in most of the religion: forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespasses against us. My friend, the experience of forgiving and accepting forgiveness is a prime characteristic of all the happy creative personalities. in the give and take of every day's modern existence. People are bound to rub us the wrong way occasionally, to hurt our pride, to take undue, unfair advantage, to be thoughtless or ungrateful. Most of the time, these minor irritants, my friend, we can usually take in stride. But the serious hurts, betrayals, or rejections by someone close to us fills us with blind urge to return hurt for hurt without the saving grace of forgiveness. My friend, injury begets injury until the revenge has run its course in mutual destruction. A father of nation, Mahatma Gandhi, used to say, "An eye for an eye will leave the world blind." It is beneficial to forgive as to be forgiven, both. Yes, the healing of forgiveness often takes time and effort. My friend, forgiveness does not undo what has already been done. It enables us to accept what has been done and to go on from here. We must learn when and how to cast off our own mistakes and shortcomings. Most of us at times blunder into accidentally hurting someone. If it's merely a case of hurt feeling, we can usually straighten out the difficulty. But if as a physical hurt is involved, we find it hard to forgive ourselves. My friend, I used to think nothing can undo what I have done. The thought of my guilt would stop me in the middle of a smile or a handshake. It put a wall between the person whom I have hurt, and me. But I always, if this thing is happening, I always make sure that I make an unexpected visit to the person I dreaded most in the world to see because of my behavior. And generally things were sorted out, straightened out. My friend, it is only through forgiveness of our mistakes, remember, that we gain the freedom to learn from experience. But forgiving our shortcomings does not mean denying that they exist. On the contrary, it means facing them honestly and realistically. Just imagine, can a person be all forgiving and still be human? Think of it. A scientist I know spent 4 years as a slave laborer in the concentration camp in Germany. When I read this, and this scientist, his parents were killed by those in the Nazi street bullies. His younger sister and older brother was sent to the gas chambers. This is a man who has every reason to hate them, but he survived the Holocaust. And he writes in memoirs later on, yet he is filled with a love of life that he conveys to everyone who knows him or who knew him. He explained that in the beginning he was filled with hatred. Then he realized that in hating he had become his own tormentor. Unless you forgive, he says, you cannot love. And without love, life has no meaning, my friend. Forgiveness is truly the saving grace. Some people say, I can forgive, but I cannot forget. Remember, my friend, this is only another way of saying I will not forgive. Forgiveness ought to be like a cancelled note, my friend, torn in two and burned up, so that it can never be shown against one. Learn to forgive people, because forgiveness is the ultimate saving grace. Thank you very much.